Believe it or not, I haven't always seen the potential in scrap wood, but through the crafty years, my eyes have been opened, and now the project that you're going to watch in today's video is just one of the many reasons you won't find me tossing scrap wood. Let's get started with today's tutorial. I've gathered all this beautiful wood out of my craft stash, which is why I can never throw anything away. I'm going to explain the materials I'm using. This is going to have the feel of a wood collage, but it's going to come together and make a church shape. And I think it's going to be really beautiful. And what I'm hoping for after you watch today's video is that you are inspired to look at your little craft scraps in a different way. Like you can reimagine and get really artsy with them. So this board right here, really beautiful on this side. And I'm actually not going to do anything to this side today. Going to keep that for a side B project. I love having reversible decor, but this side right here, I'm going to decoupage on, and it's just a little bit smaller than a regular piece of paper. It's 8 by 11 inches. These little, which are like 1x2s, they're old bed slats, and I had my husband cut them while we just had this out making some other things with it, and these were the end pieces, and I had him 45-degree these here. These pieces measure at their tallest just about 6.5 inches or so. Yeah, so I was just salvaging scrap at that point. So I said like about 1 inch thick and just a little bit over 2 inches wide. So when they're put together, they're just a little bit over 4 inches wide. And then I've got all these little pieces. If you didn't see all the different crafts that I had made with shims, I am still going to share some more in that series later on into different seasons and holidays. First thing we have to do is to get this board painted with a background color to take a beautiful napkin. Wait till you see this napkin. It's one of my favorites to craft with. I'm using the color Vintage White. And the reason is sometimes when you're decoupaging napkins, especially if the napkin has a light color to it, you'll want to give a foundational coat behind it so that the design will be more vibrant. So that is what I'm going to do right here. So we're going to put a little bit of Vintage White. Our board is now dry enough to put our coat of Mod Podge on, which is the decoupage glue. And these are the beautiful napkins I'm going to use for the background. It is 3-ply, I believe, so I'm going to have to get it down to 1-ply, and then I'm going to need a little piece to cover up right there as well. A bit of glue. This is a great little napkin decoupage trick. You can use Scotch tape as well. Sometimes I just put a little bit of Mod Podge glue on my fingers so that when I go to pull apart the napkin plies, it comes off very easy. So I don't need this. I can save it if I wanted to, because you can actually print on that. And then I'll put a little bit more glue and get that second ply off. And I'm also trying to be really gentle on the napkin because I want to salvage as much of the design as I can. If I ripped it, I could just piece it together, but it's much easier to get it to pull apart, like so. Okay, so back to the lesson on painting a background color. This is a very now translucent napkin. It wasn't as translucent before with the 2 plies behind it. So we're just kind of simulating, the fact that it has a backer color. That way the design, it would be brown where you're seeing it look really white and vibrant behind this napkin. It would have been more brown if I had left it. So let's get another napkin. We're going to need a little piece of it. Probably one of the biggest mistakes I see with people decoupaging is they either forget to remove the extra plies of napkin when they're decoupaging them, or they don't realize that there is indeed a 3rd ply. They only think the first one came off so easy, which would be the 3rd one. So then they leave the 2nd ply on there. So make sure not to do that. So then we'll piece that one together. Let's get us a little bit on here. We'll move it around with a brush. I'm actually going to just repurpose the same brush that still has a little bit of paint on it. It won't hurt it at all. Just move around that glue. And then while this is drying, we will cut our pieces for the church, the little extra small pieces, and get those stained. All right, so napkin number one, because a lot of my church is going to be at the bottom here, I am going to piece it together where a lot of it's going to get covered up. So I'm going to start at the top here and just line that up and work my way down. Now, I don't usually worry too much about wrinkles because my style is so rough and distressed. It does not bother me. There are lots of other methods you could try and use different smoother wood if you don't want it to kind of look like that. All right, this looks great. We'll come back and take care of these edges here in just a little while. Okay, and now we'll just take a part of this napkin and just piece it together down here. You would never know. It's barely going to overlap. I really just want to have it meet it so there's not a visible seam. That seam could be made visible two different ways, just to give you a heads up if you're doing this. You could overlap it too much and then that makes the seam visible, or you could not bring it up to meet it just right and that makes it too visible. A tiny little bit of overlap you can usually get away with, especially depending on how busy your napkin is, and this one just happens to be pretty busy. Let me get my sanding block and we'll get rid of this excess napkin. Okay, I'm going to start right here. I'm just going to sand down. You can't sand this way, can't sand up. You want to bring it down to score it. And then I've got a really pretty big piece to use on a different project. So salvage that. I'll get rid of the rest. The excess napkin is off. I will just do a little bit of sanding to the left and the right just to stress where the edges touch the wood. Kind of a worn wallpaper look. Doing techniques like this, I can always go back and add more, but I can't take away. So I like to be a little timid about how aggressive I get with my distressing, because I can always go and keep taking it off where I want, which is what I'm doing with this one. I am leaving the edges just the natural wood. It's going to play into the wood tones of my church. I may do some distressing ink around the edges. We'll just kind of see. Next is going to be the church build. I have these shim pieces already pre-cut to give you an idea, and then I'm going to show you how I cut them from the scraps. But I have a couple pieces here that have 45-degree angles that match this. They're going to kind of add to the width of the church. Okay, they're going to be stained. And then I've got these little pieces that I cut, very rustic looking, but I made a little set of doors. These are shims as well. I'll cut those. And then these two little pieces are put together and they are going to be a cross. If you don't yet have one of these amazing silicone mats, I rave about them because it's one of my go-to favorite things to protect my work surfaces. All right, so I already said I'm going to leave the church pieces as is. I just love how rustic they are. The stain color is beautiful and I think it pops beautifully off this. But these, and it won't be a perfect match, and that's okay. I don't need it to be actually, because I need it to kind of be a two-toned wood look. I'm going to grab a baby white for this and some Bulk Art Home Decor Antique Wax in brown. Now this is a water base, so it kind of just acts like a stain. We'll try to use a little side of this plate here to the left. Actually may be a perfect match. We're going to have to work on that. Come up with a plan. Mostly for the doors. It's okay that if the little side pieces of the church match, that's not a big deal. You know what? You might be thinking, she forgot to tell us how she cut these. I did forget to tell you how I cut these. I'm just thinking about it as I'm moving along and finishing this. Okay, So these are all just scraps from cedar shims. And so all you would need to do is measure your pieces, get your favorite cutting tool. This one was featured in all my videos in the shim series. I'll be sure to link that in the description, and I'll link these. These are called miter shears. And to make 45-degree cuts like this, you can actually click this little thing right here and put your piece in, and it makes the 45-degree cuts for you like that. And when I want a straight cut, I go back to 0 degrees, and I can make straight cuts if I want to. Now, for these little pieces, I cut them how I wanted, split them where I wanted, and then I just use some scissors to round the tops just to make them little arch doors. That is all. So, sorry, I forgot to share that earlier. I need this door to pop off of here, and I'm not sure that's going to work. So, we're going to have to revisit that in just a minute. Look, this home decor antique wax is a little too matchy for my doors and my cross, but I have ideas. I have always plan Bs, unless you just like the all wood tone, which I do. I do. See how pretty that looks. Let's go ahead and just get everything stained, and then let's think about what we could do to lighten it up a little bit so we get a little bit more contrast. I think the two-toned wood cross, because this piece stained a little darker than this one. And I'm really liking the way that that looks. I think I'm going to roll with that for sure. I'm going to go ahead and glue that in place. Just a little bit of hot glue or E6000, whatever your preference. Go ahead and get my cross. Sweet little cross. And then I'm going to take the sander and I'm going to sand over the top of this shim for the door just to lighten up the wood a little bit. Not get it quite down back to where it was being original, but close. And I think that'll be our solution to where we get a little bit more contrast. See that? See the difference in that, where there's a lot more contrast of this wood tone? I think that's the answer. Because I knew it was going to look all wooden, but I didn't want it to just all be exactly matchy. If that makes sense. Beautiful. Now let me do that to these, just a smidge. Not much. Oh, yeah. I think that's it. What are y'all thinking about that? And make a decision about the orientation of this church. I could put the cross right there as well. That would be really pretty and give that like elongated look. Do that and then keep it really simple. Okay, let's roll with it. For the assembly, I'm going to use a mixture of hot glue and then some E6000, especially for this heavy wood. So we'll build it piece by piece. We'll do our heavy wood first. So E6000 plus low odor. We'll do some squeezes of that here and there. That's going to give us a nice slow hold, but it takes a little bit longer for this to dry and it can shift around. So I'll use a little bit of hot glue in a couple spots just to hold it in place. I'll try to put it in a couple spots where the E6000 isn't, just in case. This is pretty hot glue. I'm actually going to pick it up and make sure it's like even with the wood, because that's what I wanted. Now for these, I'm just going to use some hot glue. Get that nudged up, make sure that's straight. Little doors on. I love how rustic those look. And then lastly, the cross. And I think I am happy with it going at the top there. Let's do one little line right here. This is just a tiny little Sharpie pen. Take care of this. I'm going to keep it very simple, just like the whole style of this scrap wood church. Okay, I think for the doors, instead of the circles, I'm going to do little rectangles for the handles. This little marker instead. Sitting here looking at it, and the circles just didn't seem right. Just one more little touch. I'm using Distress Ink by Tim Holtz, the walnut stain, and my little feathering brush for the inking. So I wasn't really set on doing it or not, but I think it could really use it. So that's all I'm doing is just going to drag this ink around the edges here, a bit heavier in the corner, and that'll give us, I think it'll be a nice finished look. I do love the distressing. If it had a frame around this wood, that would be different, but this is going to give us that kind of framing effect. And I think it'll just be that perfect finishing touch. I'm also going to add a little bit of this right here at the top of the church. Almost gives that wood kind of a burnt edge feel. Gives us one more wood tone to make the finish a little bit more interesting, because I love the two wood tones, but adding this third shade, I don't know if we can see if we had a side by side, just the depth that this step can add to a project. But I love simplicity all day, and I think things are beautiful. But when we can do a little bit of this, I think why not, you know? Get a little bit up here on this cross, just here and there. And now I'm feeling even better about it. I already thought it was really beautiful, but now that it has a little bit more interest with this other brown tone, that is beautiful. That's magic. My goodness, how sweet and simple did this church turn out? I hope you enjoyed watching it come together. I know there are so many different embellishments and things that I could have done, but I have to say, I really love the simplicity. This one just gives me a sense of peace and calmness because it's not over embellished. So I hope that you're inspired by this project. Just a few reminders before you go. Have you turned on the notification bell? That'll let you know when there's a new crafty episode waiting for you to enjoy. Also, check the video description. Lots of helpful links and resources there from different tools and supplies you might have seen me use. Leave me a comment below. I love answering your questions and getting to know you a little better. Lastly, don't forget, you're amazing, you're creative, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.